This video is going to cover the 4 inequality symbols. We'll talk about what these symbols look like and also demonstrate how they can be used. The first symbol we're going to look at is the less than symbol. And so it looks more or less like a sideways V, and the important thing is that it points to the left, which is where we know on a number line smaller numbers are. So, meaning in words, this symbol means less than. And as we look at it, that closed part on the left and the open part on the right, the smaller numbers are going to be on the closed part of it, and the larger numbers are going to be on the open part of it. So we can write 2 less than 5 as an example. We could also write something like -7 less than -1. And the next symbol we'll look at is the less than or equal to sign. And that is similar to the less than sign, except there's an extra line right underneath it parallel to that bottom part of the less than sign. So in words, this symbol means less than or equal to. And with numbers, this doesn't have quite as much extra meaning that is useful as it does with algebraic variables, which we'll study a little bit later. We'll show these examples with numbers since we're first introducing these, but keep in mind that this symbol will have, the differentiation between these two will have much more purpose later on in mathematics. So we can also state things like 2 less than or equal to 5. It's important with this to note that this or equal to means that only one of the two, less than or the equal part, must be true. So we could write 2 less than or equal to 5. We could write -7 less than or equal to -1. But because we also have this or equal to, we could also write something like 2 less than or equal to 2. And I know that 2 less than or equal to 2 might not have a lot of significance at this point because we know that 2 equals 2. But once we introduce variables, this will have quite a bit of meaning for us. Okay, the last two symbols are greater than and then greater than or equal to. So the greater than sign is pretty much the opposite of the less than sign. So again, a sideways V, but this time pointing to the right. And it's helpful to think of that pointing to the right as larger numbers are to the right, and so it points there. So this symbol is the greater than sign. And as we look at that, similar to the less than sign, larger numbers are going to go on the open side and smaller numbers are going to go on the closed side. So we could write 5 greater than 2. We could also write that -1 is greater than -7. And both of those statements we can see are similar to the less than sign. The difference between the two is that which number we're orienting from and which symbol we're using. The last symbol we'll look at is the greater than or equal to sign. So just like the greater than sign, except there's an extra line to help us with the equal part, and that runs parallel to that bottom line on the greater than sign. So this symbol is greater than or equal to, and that or part is critical because only one of these is going to have to be true. So we can write that 5 is greater than or equal to 2. That is true because 5 is greater than 2. We can also write that -1 is greater than or equal to -7, which again is true as -1 is greater than 7. And we could also write that 5 is greater than or equal to the number 5 as 5 equals 5. So those 4 symbols, less than or equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to, are the 4 inequality symbols.